August 12 episode of this program, I called for the firing of Rick Eckstein as hitting coach. You don't do that with any joy. You do it because you feel like it's the right move for the organization. Yesterday, the organization felt that way. Good morning to you. Good Tuesday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports, and this is Daily Shot of Pirates. Comes your way bright and early every weekday. If you're into football and or hockey, I also offer up daily shots of Steelers and Penguins right where you found this. The Pirates were off yesterday, but they still managed to make some news with the relieving of duties, parting of ways. I saw two different versions of this in their press releases. I don't know why anybody can't just say anymore, hey, they just fired somebody. You know, they fired him. They fired Eckstein, their hitting coach. And I'm not here to pile on, but I am here to remind of some of the things that I had mentioned on that August 12 show, none of which have really changed. The Pirates currently rank dead last in all of Major League Baseball in runs with 470, home runs 101, slugging percentage 362, OPS 665, average exit velocity 87.5 miles an hour, batting average with runners in scoring position 213. Those of you who watch this team won't be surprised by a single digit or ranking that I just shared. Not one. Because you've seen this team be terrible at hitting. You've seen it somehow be even worse at situational hitting. And at some point or other, that does collectively reflect on an individual. When you see player after player after player come into the Pirates, whether that's up through the ranks or whether that's from the outside, and something will go wrong for that player, and then they plateau, that is where you can point directly to the hitting coach. No, I'm not being an idiot here. I know what the talent level is. I know what the payroll is. And I also know, from a positive standpoint, that Brian Reynolds, Adam Frazier, became the best version of themselves in the 2021 season. And that's undoubtedly also to Eckstein's credit. To a degree. I happen to feel like Reynolds doesn't need anybody's help in any walk of life. But the goal here, the stated goal of everyone within the organization, beginning with Ben Cherington at the top of baseball operations, has been to get better. And when it comes to instruction, that's it. That's the entire mandate. When you have this player, make that player better. Cherington in the past week referred to getting that extra 15 to 20% out of a player. That was his terminology. And I kind of like that because that sounded like a realistic figure. No coach is going to make a player twice what they are. Not in any sport. But you can get that little bit extra out of them, whether that's through motivation, whether that's through technique, whether that's through preparation. And that didn't happen here. If you want one of the more telling examples along the path here in 2021, and take this for what it's worth, because this is a minor league player that I'm about to mention, John Nogowski shows up with the Pirates. Cherington talks about how his scouts saw something in Nogowski with his swing in the St. Louis minor league system where they felt like he had just locked in. He had really figured some stuff out. And he comes to Pittsburgh and he does exactly what you saw. He wasn't going to hit the ball over the fence, but he was hitting it everywhere else. looked confident, looked really sharp with every at-bat, like he was on every pitch. And then he wasn't. And then there wasn't an answer. That's the pattern. That's the pattern. No, Nogowski individually doesn't matter. But when you see it happening again and again and again and again, there's a place to point that finger. Now, Derek Shelton wasn't doing anything of the kind. Derek Shelton is an old hitting coach himself. These guys really like Rick Eckstein. There's nothing to not like. And Shelton made that quite clear in a special access call that he had with us yesterday.
I think the thing I want to say first and foremost, I want to thank Rick Eckstein for all of his work and dedication to the Pirates over the last 2 years while I was here and even before that. And not wishing nothing but the best moving forward.
Why do this now? Well, you know what? We can ask questions like that about this. We can ask it about Gregory Polanco. We can ask it about a million different things. But the fact of the matter is, you have a full month here at the major league level to try to put in some of your own processes, to try to put in some of the things that you actually believe in that would have made really, really clear if you started installing them anyway to the existing hitting coach that he's on his way out. So you might as well just get him out. This isn't about, oh no, if you wait another month, you avoid embarrassing him or whatever else here. Any coach, not manager, coach in baseball will tell you, and I've had them tell me this in the past themselves, they would prefer to get fired sooner rather than later so that other teams are aware of their availability and can start planning to interview them. So in a bizarre kind of way, this is actually doing the guy a favor. But setting personalities and all that other stuff aside, look, this wasn't good enough. This wasn't making players better. Oh, and one other thing. Eckstein and Joey Cora were the only two coaching holdovers from the Clint Hurdle staff. Just saying. Just saying. When we come back, just one question. Back. It's time for Just One Question. That's brought to you always on this program by our friends at North Shore Tavern, directly across Federal Street from PNC Park, home of Steak on a Stone, home of the planet's only fully dedicated pirate sports bar. Front to back, wall to wall, floor to ceiling. Nothing but pirate stuff year round. If you're a baseball fan, you feel right at home. Check out North Shore Tavern, directly across Federal Street from PNC Park. Our question today comes from Timothy Hemis, who says, with the news of Rick Eckstein's dismissal, who are the candidates to replace him? Tim, the pattern that's been in place so far has been that Cherington and Steve Sanders, his assistant, will look to people that they know from previous organizations. So your first place you start sniffing around for names would be the Toronto and Boston organizations. Every sports executive prefers people they know and trust over some, big sexy name that might be available elsewhere. I did find it telling that this announcement was accompanied by an addendum that the Pirates are not immediately elevating someone else, meaning Mike Ribello, the assistant hitting coach, or someone from the minor leagues, and they're basically leaving the job, the interim job, open, vacated. Now understand that Shelton has been a major league hitting coach. That's what he was right before he took the Pirates managing job. So this This man is eminently capable of handling this component for a month of the season and maybe putting into place some of the things that he wanted to see. These can be strange situations for managers. Remember that Clint Hurdle was also a hitting coach when he wasn't managing. And Hurdle would speak openly and candidly about how uncomfortable that was, because he'd be behind the cage and he'd be seeing things that he'd want to address, but he didn't want to step on the toes of the positional coach. Shelton, I'm positive, has had a lot of the same sentiments in watching the Pirates and watching their approaches and watching them with bases loaded, just doing nothing. Oh, why are we still talking about this hitting coach? He's gone. This is, again, not being mean here, but this is a positive for this organization. Look at it from this standpoint, Tim. You don't want to see 2 seasons in a row like the one that the Pirates had in the shortened 2020 and like this one, and see them get through the entire process and say, you know what, everything went great. We're keeping everyone. They didn't do that. And I don't know that they're done. There are going to be things that get exposed. This was exposed. Not for me and you to see, for everyone to see. You heard those numbers in the opening segment. The Pirates were an absolute embarrassment at the plate this year, regardless of their talent level or payroll. They did things that you don't want to see at the plate, at the big league level. This change needed to happen. That's why I called for it on August 12th, and infinitely more important than that, that's why the Pirates went through with it yesterday. I appreciate everyone listening to Daily Shot of Pirates. Let's do another one tomorrow.